Welcome back to another episode of Health is Wealth, and thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. And as always, I'm beyond grateful and thankful from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you who is tuning into today's episode and also tuning in to help support the podcast. As every week we are sharing a new episode, just sharing words, thoughts of hopes, inspiration, and motivation to bring value into your world, hopefully today. So thank you once again for being here. And what I wanted to talk to you briefly about today is to just do your best to be good to people, do your best to be kind, do your best to be respectful, do your best to have good intentions to want to help people. Because I believe at the core of everything in life, it is the most important thing, for us to look out for one another. We got so much going on in life, right? We're so busy with doing this, with doing that. And I think, again, the most important thing as we live these busy lives is to always remember that we're all humans at the end of the day. We are all navigating this thing called life for the first time, right? We all got lots of things going on. And so it's important to do our best to be kind to one another for many different reasons, One, because it's the right thing to do. Two, you never know what other people are going through. Three, you never know who really needs the help. And it's one of the biggest things that I really have been thinking about a lot lately, especially when it comes to work and business. It's just always making sure I'm doing my very best to be good to people, to be kind, to be respectful, because I think that'll always be the most important thing, the thing we always need the most of, and the thing that's always going to matter the most. And it's amazing, as I've just started this mobile detailing business, right? One of the biggest things I just continue to remind myself of starting this is beyond the job of detailing itself, right? I care about people. I care about helping others, whether it's a customer, whether it's others in the industry. I've been very fortunate getting into this mobile detailing business because the entire detailing community has been nothing but open arms and generous and good to me and embracing and helpful and supportive. And it's all of the above and things I just never would have thought to have imagined being such a big part of the community, because I had no idea, right? I've never been in this world before. This is all brand new to me, and it's not to say that I didn't think that there were good people in the detailing community. It's just I didn't realize how overwhelmingly supportive and amazing people are to me getting in. And, for me, I like to be the very same back to everybody, my customers and those into the detailing community, by always making sure that, I do my best to be as good to everybody I meet, especially in the community, to be as respectful as I possibly can to each and every one of them. Like I said, even my customers, right? Going above and beyond, right? Doing my best to make sure that they all know that, the detailing is just the job, right? But the real treat for me here, to be honest, is the connection with people, getting to meet amazing people, getting to go out of my way to make an effort to help, better their world, whether by, by putting an effort to do something or say something nice or, be intentional with my actions, whatever they may look like. And it's one of the things that it will just stay at the top of me working in this business now is making sure that I do everything I can to make sure that I take care of, my customers, and again, maybe, people in the community of detailing themselves. Because none of it matters to me, more than that. The connections, the relationships, the getting to be there for others as others have been there for me. And again, this just translates to everything in life. I think it's one of the biggest gifts that God has given us is the ability to help, to support, to be kind, to be respectful. Sometimes we can look at ourselves and be like, oh, we're not worth much. Like, who are we? We're nothing special. But it's the furthest thing from the truth. You have no idea how capable you are, and how powerful you could become just being good, again, being good to others in just any and every way possible, right? Having good intentions of wanting to support, lift others up, be there for them, help them, whatever it may be. There's so many different ways to go about it. And I think ultimately it makes us a better human being, because I think when we lead with our mind and our heart with intentions of good, you know, it can only, I think, strengthen our heart to continue to be that way. And I don't think you do it either just because, it's a trade off of, if I do something good, then something good, should happen back to me. But I'll tell you a funny thing. I do feel that incoincidentally like happens. You start doing more nice things for others, and you treat others with respect and treat them kind, and be there for them and be supportive and do your best to be available and be of help and all of that. And it's funny how it just kind of comes back to you, to where the nice things and good things begin to happen to you. But I don't think being good is with the intention that it's a trade-off. If I do something good, then something good should happen to me. You do it because it's the right thing to do. You do it because you're being compelled to do it. You're doing it because God has placed it in you as a person, human being, in your heart and mind, to be that, to lead with his love, to lead with his kindness, to lead with his respect, because in the end, regardless of how far off we all think we are from one another, how different we all think we are, how far away we all live from one another on this planet, it's so huge. It's like we are all brothers and sisters of Christ at the end of the day. We all breathe the same air, we all bleed the same blood, we all look the same inside. Like, none of it matters beyond that, right? We are all the same. And, it can be easy, especially in today's world, to feel division, to feel divided, to feel like we're, against each other, and all of that. And I don't believe that's the reality of what it really is out there. And, I learn it on the daily just how amazing people are, just how good people are. Like I said, specifically speaking of this new business I started, I've had the most amazing experiences with the most amazing people, And the one thing about that is when you have more of that around you, it just makes you want to be more of that way back to them, because it just feels good. I think we feel most natural at a point of doing good, and doing good onto others. It's just because I believe that's who we were created to be, right? So just remember to be good, be kind, be respectful. Go out of your way today to do something nice for somebody, to say something nice to somebody, to be respectful, to be kind, to be there, to be supportive, to be all of those things. Because no more, especially nowadays, it's like people need that more than ever, for sure. But I believe it really relieves your soul, and it really heals your soul when you can be that kind of person who's just willing to give to others. And I find it's one of the biggest joys I have in life is being kind and being respectful and being generous, and saying nice things to other people, and being supportive and letting people know that I am there. And it's one of the biggest thing I like people to realize. I want to do such a good job at it. People know that it's like my truest intentions are to be there for them, or to help them, or to be supportive, and it's just amazing too when people, see that, when they see someone actually really cares and someone's really there to support without any transactional things involved too, like, hey, I'm only going to be good to you if you do something for me. When people see just genuine, authentic people being good, it re-sparks this, faith in humanity, and faith in just your belief in Christ, that there are good people who just want to do good things for no more than just the sake of it's the right thing to do, and it's the good thing to do, and they've got a heart that wants them to do it, and furthermore, it'll continue to be the base of everything that I do in life, personal, business, anybody I meet, right, is always to be leading with that mindset of, doing good, being kind, being respectful, treating others with respect, right? doing everything I can to be available. If somebody helps me, do my best to help them 10 times more to show them how much I appreciate it. And I think it's one of the best things that we can live by in our life in every application, possible. So, again, guys, this life is too short, right? There's enough going on in this world. We don't need more people being upset. We don't need more people being against each other. We need more people who are hating. There's enough of those. We need to continue to have more good people who are doing good, doing better, being respectful, being kind, being all the good things that people truly need in this world today. Because it doesn't just help others out. It helps you out. It helps your heart out. It helps you become a better person at the end of the day. So, be kind, be respectful, be there for others, love on one another, support one another, and I think the transformation in your own self and the transformation in somebody else's life who maybe needed it the most is just very significant and something we should be very intentional about always thinking. Like I said, beyond everything that I do, the connection with people and being good and being kind and being respectful and being helpful, all those things are above anything else that I do, because I know in the end that is what will absolutely matter the most. So again, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you on the next one.